Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're walking a very fine line, the razor-thin divide between the confidence that can actually build a trading career and the ego that will absolutely 100% destroy it. Now, it sounds simple, but in the heat of the moment when the market's moving, it is anything but.
Okay, let's kick things off with this really powerful idea from trading expert Alexander Elder. This quote is so crucial because it goes against our basic instincts, right? We all want to be right on this trade, on this single decision. But Elder reminds us the market is playing a much, much longer game. And that long game brings us right to the heart of what we're talking about today, this razor's edge between two mindsets. They can look super similar on the surface, but trust me, they lead to completely different places. Let's break them down. So on one side, you've got confidence. This is an evidence-based belief in your system. You've done the work, you've got the data, and you trust the process, not just some gut feeling you have today. But on the other side, that's where ego lives. And ego is a feeling-based belief in yourself. It's that little voice that whispers, "Nah, the market is wrong, I'm right," and convinces you to break the very rules you set up to protect yourself. So why is ego so incredibly dangerous for a trader? I mean, really, what's the big deal? Well, let's get into the psychology of how this mindset just systematically leads people to ruin, because believe it or not, it's a very predictable pattern. The ego's number one weapon is overconfidence. It's that feeling you get, especially after a few wins in a row, when that dopamine surge makes you feel kind of invincible. It's when you start thinking you've cracked the code, that you're seeing things nobody else can. And that is the exact moment you become your own worst enemy. But look, this isn't just about feeling good or bad. This feeling of being a genius has a direct, measurable, and often devastating impact on your account balance. So what does that cost actually look like? Well, this slide shows us the cold, hard data. A huge study by Terrence O'Dean looked at thousands of accounts. As you can see, the people who traded the least frequently, that bar on the left, they earned annual net returns of 18.5%. Pretty good. Now, look at the bar on the right. The most frequent traders, the ones often driven by that overconfident ego, they only earned 11.4%. That's a massive difference, and it proves that being more active often just means less profit. We know it's costly, sure, but what are the actual behaviors we can spot in ourselves that tell us the ego has grabbed the steering wheel from our plan? Just think about it for a second. Have you ever moved your stop loss just because a trade felt like it was going to come back? That's your ego. Or maybe you ignored your own risk limits because you were on a hot streak? Pure ego. Every single one of these is a small betrayal of your system, all for that momentary feeling of being right. And this right here just shows how common this is. It's crazy. A University of Chicago study found that a jaw-dropping 78% of traders broke their own position sizing rules when they were on a winning streak. Just let that sink in. Nearly 4 out of 5 traders let a few wins convince them to throw out the very rules they made to keep themselves safe. Okay, so let's flip the script. We've seen the whole destructive cycle of ego. Now let's look at the mindset of a professional, someone who operates not with arrogance, but with genuine, data-backed confidence. The ego is obsessed with being right. It's like a dopamine junkie, constantly chasing the validation that comes from a high win rate. Because every win just reinforces that dangerous feeling that you're smarter than the market itself. But you know what? Professionals couldn't care less about their win rate in a vacuum. They are focused on a totally different metric, one that ego-driven traders almost always ignore: positive expectancy. Expectation is really the mathematical soul of a trading system. It answers one simple question. Over the next 100 trades, is this system likely to make money? It accepts the fact that you will have losses, and it focuses on making sure your wins are big enough to more than make up for them over time. And this table just demonstrates the whole concept perfectly. I mean, look at the ego trader, a 70% win rate. That feels fantastic, right? But because their risk control is terrible, those few large losses wipe out all their gains. The outcome? Unprofitable. Now look at the professional. They only win 40% of the time, but their risk control is ironclad. Those disciplined, small losses are easily covered by their wins, and they are profitable. So the crucial point is this: professionals build habits that completely separate their identity from any single trade. A loss isn't some personal failure, it's just a business expense like inventory. They don't ask, did I make money on that trade? They ask, did I follow my plan perfectly? And that is the only question that truly matters.
Okay, this leads us to the most important part of this whole explainer. How do you actually make this shift? How do you get off the emotional roller coaster of profits and losses and move into the calm, disciplined world of just focusing on your process?
The single most effective tool that trading psychologists recommend is a structured journal. By forcing yourself to write down your plan before you even get into a trade, it makes it so much harder for your emotions to hijack the decision. It really turns you from a gambler into a scientist who's just observing your own performance.
This right here is the new goal. It's a fundamental reframing of what success even looks like. You're not trying to outsmart the market. You are simply trying to execute your own plan with flawless discipline over and over and over again. The profits? They're just a byproduct of that excellent execution. And to help with this, researchers came up with this really cool mental tool called the discipline coin. The idea is super simple. Instead of rewarding yourself for a profitable trade, you reward yourself for a block of time, like say an hour, where you followed your rules perfectly. This literally retrains your brain to value good process over a lucky outcome. And really, at the end of the day, it all comes back to this. Any single trade is statistically meaningless. It's just random noise. The only thing that tells you the truth about your skill and your system is your performance over a long series of trades. And so that's the question we'll leave you with. Is your approach built on the rock-solid foundation of a tested process, or is it floating on the fragile, hot air of ego? Because as every seasoned trader knows, the market has a pin and it will eventually find every single balloon.